Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022 live stream for studentloanjustice.org. My name is Alan Collins. If you're new to the group, welcome. What took you so long? We are the oldest, largest, and pretty much only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. So for the first 16 years of our existence, that meant very moderately fighting for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. And we're still doing that. It lies at the core of the problem. But ladies and gentlemen, this lending system is catastrophically failed, galactically failed. Even before the pandemic, 64.3% of all borrowers, that's nearly 2/3 of all borrowers, were not making payments. Like, how crazy is that? That's before the pandemic. Anyways, I could go on and on about how failed this lending program is. We're now also fighting for the president to cancel all federally owned student loans by executive order. At this point, it's got to happen. And not this up to $50,000 nonsense, not this $10,000 whitewash across the board. That's nonsense. Up to $50,000 could mean anything. And if the Department of Education has its way, it will mean nothing. It will mean almost nothing for almost everybody. We've seen this trick before. We've seen this movie before. It's a very bad movie. We're not going to be tricked again, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe the other groups are happy to let themselves be tricked. We are not. And they should really think their positions, by the way. They should be fighting along with us for bankruptcy. Most important thing I'll tell you today, folks, is we've got a bill that is in Congress right now, S-2598. It's a good bill. The bill will return limited bankruptcy rights to federal student loans. The limited part, which I don't like, is that there's a 10-year waiting period associated with it. So it's not a perfect bill. It doesn't cover private loans either. So if you have private loans, HR 4907 is the bill that you want to fight for. But our bill, S-2598, is a good bill. It's a huge leap forward. The most important policy point I'm going to make, which goes back to what I just said about 15 seconds ago, we are not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us. Right now, as long as bankruptcy's gone, yeah, Joe Biden might eventually go, okay, you guys, you win. I will now cancel up to $50,000. And after means testing, after filling out the form, after all manner of bureaucratizations, that will ultimately mean almost nothing for almost everybody. Believe me, guys, we've been doing this for 17 years now. We've seen any number of loan cancellation gimmicks come and go. And they always come to almost nothing for almost everyone. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have on that. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, and if I can see them on Twitter or on Facebook, which is not always a guarantee, I will gladly respond to them if I can see them. So if you're watching us on Instagram or YouTube or any of our other platforms, then sorry about that. You got to come and see us on Facebook, Facebook/groups/SLJ group, or look for us on Twitter, and that's Student Loan Just #1. So I've got some good news here today a little bit. The State of the Union happened last night, ladies and gentlemen, and President Biden did not even mention student loans. He said some nonsense about Pell Grants, did not even mention student loans. And interestingly, that in itself is turning out to be quite a story. We've seen articles at Business Insider, and I heard CNBC. We are actually quoted today at Newsweek at the top of the article in a story about the fact that Joe Biden never even mentioned student loans. So it's a pretty good quote. It's not perfect. The grammar is a little butchered in the quotes, but I think the meaning is clear. And I don't know how the other articles read, but what our articles, what I said to Newsweek today was that, yeah, President Biden obviously wasn't compelled to mention student loans in his speech to the State of the Union. We are not going to be, we the borrowers are not going to feel compelled to resume making payments on our loans on May 1st. So, nah. I also tried to say, it didn't come out that well, but I tried to say that, look, Joe Biden can spend the next 3 years pretending that this lending system is legitimate, and he will not get a second term. He will not. Or if he's lucky, like small possibility, he can spend the next 7 years reinventing this failed lending system. So, as I said, hopefully the meeting came through. Hope you read the article. Hope you're pleased. Hey, we've got a quote here for a comment here from Leslie Fishman. Hey, Leslie. Thank you, Alan. So disgusted over last night. Can't believe not even a nod to so many of us suffering. You know, you raise a great point, Leslie. There are 45 million federal only student loan borrowers in the country. There's another 10, maybe even 15 million people who either have private student loans or are co-signed on them. We're talking like 60 million people in the country. And even before the pandemic, 80% of them were losing sleep over their loans. So we're talking 40, 45 million people who are losing sleep, probably more, who are losing sleep over their student loans. We vote. Like 45 million people is nearly enough to elect a president outright. I mean, we are the largest untethered voting bloc ever in the history. Well, certainly in my lifetime. I can't imagine a larger untethered voting bloc in U.S. history. Maybe there was one. I don't know. But certainly in my lifetime, we are the largest untethered voting bloc in the country. And we are not all these elitist liberals, as many in the media would like to paint us. No, that's nonsense. We're just normal people. We span the range. We span the political spectrum. We span the age, ethnicity, color, sexual orientation, whatever. We break the mold. We are a very accurate cross-section of this country, I would say. In fact, my best estimate is that 55% of all student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. So Joe Biden, I don't know what he's thinking. I used to think that I knew Joe Biden a little better than I now today think that I do. You know, I followed him all over Iowa for over a year. From little talk to little talk. We're talking little talks, guys. Like sometimes 50 people only would show up. I thought I knew Joe Biden a little better. I knew that he was going to be tough. I didn't think he was going to be quite this tough, though. So even I am disappointed knowing what I know about President Biden. I hope he comes around. He's got a lot of baggage in his closet. And quite frankly, he's got a lot to atone for. I think he owes us not only canceling these loans, but he really kind of owes us an apology for breaking this lending system in the first place. And this is going back to his days as a junior senator in 1976, by the way. Hey, Kelly Kessler says, the only solution I hear offered for borrowers by loan services, which is crap, is income-driven repayment. However, with that, loan amounts only increase. Does the Department of Education ever address this? How do they not see this as a failing concept? Kelly, you asked a great question. All of the income-driven repayment programs are cruel jokes, and we are the punchline. We've been watching this since it's been going on since like 1996 or something. Income contingent repayment. Income-based repayment, which started in 2007, pay as you earn, revised pay as you earn, public service loan forgiveness, on and on. All of those income contingent, income dependent repayment programs, these cancellation programs, 99% of the people tried for them have been disqualified. In fact, even far more. Like for income contingent repayment, for example, of the millions of people who tried for that, 32 people, like they could easily fit in my small cramped living room. That many people actually made it through. And these loans are negatively amortizing by their very nature, because as you don't pay much because you don't make much, your loan balance continues to increase. So for 99 point whatever percent of the people who try for those, not only do they not get their loans canceled, they get disqualified out of the program and are left owing far, far more than had they never tried. So these things are these things are anchors disguised as life vests. And the people at the Department of Education know this. They totally know it, Kelly. This is by design. This is not a bug. It's a feature. The Department of Education is captured. They are corrupted. They jettisoned all pretense of actually fighting for the students. The borrowers were not students, the borrowers, many years ago. They are disgusting. They run themselves like the most ruthless bank ever created in this country. And in fact, if they actually were a bank, they'd be the largest bank in the country, one of the largest banks on earth. So it's disgusting. And Kelly, the core to all of this is bankruptcy. I'm going to say what I said before, hopefully last time. We are only going to see meaningful student loan cancellation when we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us. You know, as long as bankruptcy is gone, we're going to see this nonsense. Oh, look, a new repayment plan. Cool. Pay for 20 years, pay for 25 years. It's all nonsense. It'll never happen, never work. We're going to see these up to $50,000 gimmicks. They'll never work. We can't afford that, guys. With the threat of bankruptcy returned to us, everything changes. The game is over for them. The jig is up. The scam is ended when we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. Least of all me. But you know, the founding fathers knew that bankruptcy rights were so important. They called for them ahead of the power to declare war and raise an army in the Constitution. I think they were onto something, ladies and gentlemen. When we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us, Joe Biden or whoever is going to have to cancel student loans, because it's going to be either you cancel student loans meaningfully, significant, deeply, widely, maybe even totally, You either do that, or we are going to have a wave of bankruptcies on our hands, far larger than the Great Depression. You know, as I said, there's probably 40 million people losing sleep on their student loans right now today, probably more actually. In an average year, fewer than 1 million people file for bankruptcy for any reason. So with the threat of bankruptcy returned to us, ladies and gentlemen, the president's going to be faced with a very real choice. Either you preside over the largest wave of bankruptcy filings in our nation's history, far larger even than during the Great Depression, or you get off your ass and you start canceling loans like you should have done when you first took office. Pretty easy choice. Joe Biden doesn't want to be the president to be that. He doesn't want to be that guy. So yeah, guys, this all comes, whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy is not important. You probably won't have to. Most people, many people, maybe everybody won't actually have to file. It's just getting the threat back that is so important. And I don't know why the other student loan advocacy groups aren't fighting for bankruptcy. One of them is totally corrupted, I know. Another one, I don't know. I'm going to hold my tongue. But I will say that anybody calling themselves a student advocate or a student activist or whatever, if they want to call themselves a student activist, they should know what I know. And what I know is what I just told you. We've got to get the threat of bankruptcy back. Otherwise, we're going to see more nonsense from the White House, more nonsense from Congress, and this problem will never be solved. We can't have that. This problem will be solved. This lending system is failed. These loans will be canceled. These loans will not be paid. And by the way, read our Newsweek article that we were in today, and you can see the quote there. And just go to our website, read any one of the articles that we've written or been featured in the past year or so, particularly the ones that we've written. I think those are the most important. If you go to studentloanjustice.medium.com, and that gives you a very clear, untainted picture of what is actually going on today. All of our research relies upon almost totally Department of Education data. Our research is very solid. So you can count on that. There's a lot of spin, a lot of nonsense in the zeitgeist right now with the media. Most of the media is aligned against us, ladies and gentlemen. Most of the media is aligned with the student loan system. It just is. Look at Forbes. Those people are just terrible, terrible. You can't trust one word from those people. They have no idea what's going to happen. They have no clue. And all the data that they point to is just a bunch of spun, skewed nonsense. And those people, they would lose their jobs if the lending program went away. Like one of them's like a student loan lawyer. The other one's like a student loan debt coach or something. I don't know. But there's a lot of bullshit out there in the media right now, and you shouldn't fall for it. They have no idea what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. They don't have a crystal ball. They are only telling you what they want to happen. I think I'm telling you what's going to happen, because when 64.3% of all federal borrowers weren't paying before the pandemic, I don't think, and that's like 35 or 6% were paying. I don't think even 20% of the borrowers are going to resume paying if and when they start demanding it on May 1st. It ain't going to happen. So don't be discouraged by all the nonsense out there. Stick with us. We need you. This is a battle. This is your problem. These are your loans. This is your livelihood at stake here. Hey, Kelly Kessler says, absolutely. I called my senator several times and retweet everything you post. Thank you, Kelly. That is what helps us. You know, we've got a huge muscle to flex now. We may not seem like the hugest group in the world, but in fact, we've got over 1 million people on our petition. We've got a couple 100,000 people on our other platforms. And if all of those people were doing the daily actions that we post, this problem would be solved. I'm not kidding you. So if you go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and you look at our daily actions, you'll see some very easy, like super easy daily actions. Usually it's like tweet this, retweet that, or call your senators, and we give you the phone numbers. We try and make it very easy for people. If everybody who signed our petition, everybody in this group were to do those every day, I think we'd be done. I think this problem would finally be solved in about 3 to 4 months, or if not less. So this group is a little more important than you might think. By the way, but for our group, that we would not have bankruptcy legislation in the Senate to point to, S-2598. But for this group, I don't think we'd be talking about canceling student loans by executive order. You know, I looked, in the very first media article about canceling student loans by executive order was a very seminal piece in Vice News in August 2019. A reporter named Ali Conti, very important, and that she interviewed us, and she interviewed Mark Kantrowitz, and we've been fighting with Mark Kantrowitz ever since. But that was where that whole thing started in the media zeitgeist, certainly. And, you know, we started our petition, change.org/cancel student loans, in March 2020, before anybody was talking about canceling student loans by executive order. It was only when 6 months later, Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer embraced the concept that the concept really started taking on a life of its own. And we're thrilled that they did that, by the way. We're thrilled that happened. Having said that, we are very not thrilled with Elizabeth Warren's up to $50,000 weasel word that she attached to it. That was very unhelpful. The president can cancel these loans without needing one dime from the Treasury, without adding even 1 penny to the national debt. And he can cancel way more than $50,000. So there's no real good reason for this arbitrary $50,000 cap. That really makes no sense if you think about it. The people who are being hurt worst by this problem owe far more than $50,000. You know, I'm thinking of like Vanjie. She borrowed $26,000. She's repaid $93,000. She still owes $132,000 on a $26,000 loan. She's the one that needs these loans to be gone. And so this $50,000 arbitrary nonsense, it's just that. It's a trick. And I hate to say that about Senator Elizabeth Warren, but it's a trick, guys. It's a trick. But yeah, anyways, this group is a little more important than you might think. So if I could just, and you know, that's not because of me, it's because of the people in our group that are doing the hard work necessary to spread the word, to have the arguments, to lock into those tough conversations and win our arguments. We've never lost an argument ever, guys. Not ever. Not with anyone for any reason in our battle for student loan justice. We have a sledgehammer, nuclear strength argument to make, but we've got to be in the fight. And that only happens when you sitting there help us. You know, you can sit and wait and watch and worry and eat popcorn and pray and hope all you want. Well, prayer, you never know. But as long as you don't do anything, then you can't expect a solution to this problem to happen. It's not going to fall into your lap. You've got to do the work. Pray and make phone calls, I like to say. So as long as you sit there and think that somebody else is going to pull your weight for you, it's never going to happen. You're not better than us. You're not excused. You got to be helping us, fighting in the trenches. And like I said, anybody can go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and be doing our daily actions. Everybody should, including you. And to those out there, I know Leslie and others who actually are out there fighting the battle and getting their knuckles bloody and stuff like that, I salute you. You know I do. And it's amazing to me how far we've gotten just in the past 2 years. It is amazing. You know, where we were almost nowhere when we were in Iowa in 2019. And we have come a long ways. And we are now very close. In fact, I can see it. I can taste it. I can taste victory. We're right on the cusp. But our opposition is strong. They may have a losing argument. History may be against them. The Constitution may be against them. The people may be against them. But there they are. And they're not weak. And they are going to fight with every ounce of their strength to keep this lending scam going. We can't let them do that. Our opposition, they want you to be sitting there doing nothing. They want you demoralized, discouraged. They want you distracted. They want you sitting there doing nothing. So I hope you will not give them the pleasure, because we need you. These are your loans and this is your battle. So what are you doing? Turn over a new leaf. Help us. And again, to those out there who have been doing the work, and it's not really even that hard work. Even a half an hour a week would be fine. If everybody did it, half an hour a week from everybody would be perfect. We'd be done in probably a month and a half. But it starts with you. Always has, always will. So I'm going to leave it there for now tonight, guys. Ed, I think we'll be with you tomorrow. I will be back on Friday. But the last two things I'll say: we will not see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back. The second thing, we've got to push our bill. We've got to get more Republican senators to co-sponsor S2598. So go to our website and make it your mission this week to tell both of your senators, particularly if they are Republican, to co-sponsor S2598. It is so important. You have no idea. Put everything else out of your mind and make that happen this week. It will help. We need you. So yeah, hang in there, guys. I've never been more optimistic than ever. I hope you're pleased with the Newsweek coverage today. Many better things coming in store, knock on wood. We're waiting on a few things, but keep fighting, guys. Keep fighting. We need you. You need us. And as I said, you have no idea how important you are. So good luck, everyone. Godspeed. And God bless.